Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Business Meet Your Professor webinar. We are still waiting on a few people, but I think we will get started just to be cognizant of time. So just a quick agenda overview for the day. So we're going to do a few introductions and housekeeping, some things you might need to know. We'll do a program overview, as well as some alumni and current student perspectives. We'll let you know how you can get in touch with us going forward, and then we'll end with a live Q&A. So to begin, some quick introductions. I'm Claire Bryan. I'm an enrollment advisor at Acadia. I'm not sure if I have, but I might have met some of you on the road. I worked in Eastern Ontario this past year, and I'll just hand it over to Paul. All right, so then today we will have Paul Callahan. He's the director of the FC Manning School of Business. So he'll be speaking with you today. We also have Mike Kennedy. He's an accounting professor and actual alum of Acadia. And then we're lucky to have 3 current students today with us. We have Chloe Munden, Hope Martin, and Rami Yassin. Okay, so we're just going to quickly address kind of the elephant in the room. What does the fall look like? And now, while we don't have all the answers right now, you can be sure that we are going to keep you up to date with what we do know. You're welcome to follow along with Acadia U News and New to Acadia U on Instagram, and you can always visit acadiau.ca for the latest updates. You can obviously still continue to explore our programs by attending any other Meet Your Professor webinars. They're open to everyone. Coming up, you can look forward to our regular summer orientation. It's going to be virtual this year, and we will run over the summer with a focus on preparing you for your time at Acadia. And a couple housekeeping notes just before we get started. This will be recorded just for other students who aren't able to attend today. If you do have any questions throughout, please feel free to put them in the chat box, which everybody is using already, which is great. And then at the end, we will have a Q&A section, and you are welcome to either type in RH, raise hand, or you can just write your question within the box. Okay, so let's get started. Paul, are you with us?
I'm here. I'm dutifully keeping my eye on the lobby as well, just to make sure everyone's clicked in as quickly as possible. But I'll let someone else take over that task now.
Oh, we've got people for that.
I know you do have it. I'm whatever. Keep myself busy here. Anyway, so over to me, I guess. So first of all, welcome everyone. The next one I'll give you a photo of who you're listening to right now. But let's just. That's me. Let's go back to the prior slide if we could for one moment, please. So first of all, this where you would be if you could have made it to campus today. This is our home on campus at Patterson Hall, and we're very grateful to the support of our alumni to make this building possible. It's a beautiful historic building on campus, but it's been totally renovated to suit the purpose of the business school about 5 years ago now, and we've been in place for the last 4 years. So a little shout out to our alumni for making this home possible. Now inside's beautifully well appointed, modern classrooms, technology, and so forth. So I just wanted to start off by noting that. Now, if we switch to the next slide, I'll just note that I didn't put all these notes in me, but I'll note as I don't run as quickly as I used to, but still like to get out there. And also, yes, I did grow up in New Brunswick, but I've been in Nova Scotia a long time, and I'm part of my mission in life is to convince Nova Scotians that New Brunswick is not just a highway to Maine or Quebec. There is plenty to see in New Brunswick too. These Nova Scotians think they have all the beauty in the Maritimes, and just not so. Now, the next slide is going to give you, a beautiful picture of the campus. And we're right in the middle of that. It's I don't have control of the cursor, but we're just beyond that atrium, just below that beautiful atrium you're looking at the Casey Irving Center. And I just, I like this slide because it's a reminder that when you're coming to Acadia, it's very much about a place, a place that you're going to embark on a 4-year journey. And it's not just a place, it's a place in all that word, all the connotations of that word. It's a beautiful place geographically. We're in a beautiful little town of Wolfville. But it's mostly that place engenders or produces an incredible sense of community on campus, and it's by no means we just can't overstate that. It's hard to feel it till you're on campus, but rest assured, you will very quickly feel part of this community and will remain part of this community for the rest of your life. And there's lots of testimony to prove that in the way our Acadia, our alumni reflect back on their experiences here, but also the fact that they keep coming back, and so it's very idyllic place in my view to spend 4 years, this 4-year journey of your undergraduate education. But I'll also note it by no means does it mean you're isolated. You're certainly not isolated in terms of the kind of what I was just explaining. You're very much a community, but it's also, we're very much technologically enabled, and we bring the world to our classrooms and to the campus, and we bring people from afar to their campus too. So, and we're not that far from Halifax, so there's lots of engagements that and opportunities for students that do involve treks into Halifax for seminars, opportunities to meet with prospective employers when you're at that stage in your program, and so forth. Okay, so that's that, but it's almost looks like that today. There's not quite as much foliage in the trees, but that's pretty much the kind of day we have today. Now, about us, the business school, I just note that it's, we're not, it depends on where you're coming from and what your alternatives you may have considered, but we're not a small business school. We're, with 600 plus students, 23 faculty, we're a medium-sized business in the school in the Canadian context. And it's, I mention that because we have that breadth. I mean, we have that community that you're going to have engagement with your peers, roughly 150 per level in the program, first, second, third, and fourth year, that is. And you're going to have lots of, that community to engage with, and the breadth in our faculty of approximately 23 of us, is that we do cover all the major disciplines of business thoroughly. I mean, we have roughly 2 to 3 faculty member for each of our primary disciplines of business, which I'll get to in a minute, that we have majors in. And then I'll also just note out the fact that we have 20% of our students within the business school that are international students is very, very, it's a good thing for many, many reasons, but most importantly, the perspective those international students bring into the business school, into our classrooms, is tremendously valuable. And we will always strive to keep that number, to keep the international students as a vibrant part of our community. And, I don't know if there's a certain clustering where we have traditional links to the Caribbean. We have a strong contingent of international students that come from the Caribbean, a strong contingent from Asia, and then roughly a third of our come from those two points that I just mentioned, the Caribbean and Asia, and then the other third of international students are scattered, from all over the globe. You're going to hear from one shortly who's from Turkey. So it's just a shout out there that we're very, very much appreciative of those students, international students that have and continue to choose Acadia's business school as the place they do their undergraduate degree. And that's another thing to point out. We are an undergraduate program, period, full stop. So that focus on the undergraduate experience is a very, very important part of the value that we bring to your educational experience. Now, the next point, slide, please, just class size. We averaged about across all levels of our program, we average, as you can see, that number should be bigger, but it's about 33. And as you see, it's not like we ramp that up in the first year to be exceptionally higher than that. It's not. In the first year, where our business courses average to be roughly 38. And as you can see, gradually stepping down a bit to just around 25 in fourth year courses, fourth level. Now, why do I highlight this? Because it's small. It's not so much that we do maintain small class sizes, and you can compare this to almost any business school, and you will in most business schools, it would just be no comparison. I mean, you're going to see hundreds, class sizes in the hundreds plus in many business schools around the globe, and we don't do that. We'll never do that, and it's a very important part of how we deliver our program to maintain this kind of scale in terms of in the classroom day to day. But what I keep trying to highlight is it's not so much that we're small, but it's what our small size enables. And what that enables is meaningful relationships with your peers, meaningful dialogue in a classroom setting, and kind of what I'd say, meaningful and engaged relationships with your professors. We know you, you know us, and over the 4 years, you'll develop good professional relationships that will serve you well. We certainly hope. And so it's just, there's other things that scale enables, but I think it's something that you simply can't, you can't understate how valuable it is that this is the size of classes that you're going to be dealing with in the business school. Now, for the next slide, it's just a quick overview, of the journey, the 4-year journey of our program. The first year, in year 1, is very much a foundational year. It's that text is, I'm not sure how big it's on your screen, but the text is a bit small. Just note that it's a combination of business courses, economics courses, a math course and general linear algebra, and a communications course as 7 required courses. An accounting course, an introduction to business course, and a communications course come from the business school. From our partner department, 3 courses come from the economics department, and 1 comes from the math department. Now, you will get exposure to business this year, but I will just note that some of these economics courses and math courses are more foundational. Fundamental principles of economics are pervasive in the understanding and study of business, so you need those, and we want you to make sure you get them in year 1. And we'll build upon that when we get into second year, when we get into the more functional disciplines of business. So if I shift to second year, this is what we call our core year. And this is where you're going to get the full exposure to primary functional disciplines of business: operations management, marketing, more accounting, finance, behavioral dimensions of business, and organizational behavior, in a course that we call organizational theory, but it's really sort of the sociology of business is one way to describe that. Now, in terms of content, we need, and you need in year 2, having got the foundations well developed based on year 1. You need that full exposure to all the dimensions of business to figure out what's right for you. What do you want your degree to look like on the whole after 4 years? And without that exposure in year 2 of the full breadth of business, then you can't, you don't have the full information necessary to an exposure to know what's right for you. And the other thing is, frankly, these disciplines, functional disciplines of business are so interrelated. You can't be a good accountant without understanding some marketing, and vice versa. You can't be a good marketer without understanding the financial implications of what your work might be as a marketer. Okay, so it's very much business is a multidisciplinary reality. You've got to get that exposure early, and in our view, and then build upon it with a certain degree of specialization in years 3 and 4. Okay, so that's the short strokes of how our degree is structured. In year 2, you will actually be, and sorry, I'll step back just for one thing on year 2. You will be structured in a cohort where you take all your required business courses with the same group of students. So you'll be in a class, and you'll take 4 common courses together in the fall and 4 different courses in the. I'll let the students speak more to that experience when we get to their. Okay, thanks. Now, this is not details to be consumed for now, but this shows you the 6 areas that we have majors in. We're adding a 7th it'll be formally approved next year. It's certain stage in development of environmental studies and sustainability will be our 7th major. It's been passed by our university senate, but there's some external bodies that have to accredit it. So we're just in that process now. So lots of options, and this is really defines what your degree looks like in years 3 and 4. And then another thing though I'll highlight though, it's not, you still retain some flexibility. I mean, the far right-hand side here in the screen, the electives, we force you to get outside the business school. So what we call non-business electives there, you have a certain number of credit hours, as in, you know, every course is 3 credit hours, and you have a certain number of credit hours you've got to get out of the business school. We want you to, you know, explore other interests and if you wish, develop the whole person. And there's certainly some of that might be very intentional. You know, if you're interested in law, there's certainly a suite of courses as a postgraduate degree in law after the business degree, which many of our students are on that track. There is a suite of courses we would point you to as advisable for that path. But it's also, you know, it's very much your choice in terms of how you, let's say, complement your business studies with studies outside the business school. Okay, so my last slide then, before I pass it over to Mike, it's just the first couple are just a synopsis, options to major in your 3rd and 4th year, that you do have this non-business electives, which we feel are a very important part of complementing your business studies. And then just a few more highlights here that yes, indeed, we have a co-op program. Currently, about 20% of our students opt for the co-op programs. It's ebbs and flows, but sometimes it gets up to more like 25, 30%. But it's right now a little better than 20%. So it's not requirement, but it involves 3 semesters, well, 2 summers between summers 2 and 3 and 3 and 4, and then 1 academic semester being placed in a work environment. We do have options for international exchange. And we do have an honors program whereby you work one-on-one with the professor in some sort of a research topic. And my own menu here is hiding my last. Well, that's it. So basically, these are the options by ways that everyone sort of, you know, you customize your degree to suit your interest. So I think that my next slide is just pinpoints of the places you could choose to study abroad should you, whether that be, and the options are to do it for a full academic year. Typically that's the 3rd year or 1 semester. And there is a clustering in Europe, in the UK, and part of those are because they're affiliated with our language program, Spanish, French, and Germany. So there's schools in Spain, France, and Germany that we have exchanges with. You don't have to, all of these have the option to do them just in English. But there is also an option in those countries to do it as part of language training. But there's others in Europe. In the UK, there's many in the UK, and obviously language is not an issue other than trying to figure out how to understand a Welsh accent. There's Sweden as an option. It's becoming increasingly popular in the last few years. 2 in Japan, 1 in China, 3 in Australia, which is all long been a popular destination for exchanges, and 1 in Brazil. Okay, now I'm not seeing any. Well, sorry, I don't have the chat function up. I'm going to wait till the end for Q&A, but I'll certainly keep an eye on the chat as things pop up, and be ready to address some of your questions later on. Okay, thanks so much.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Kennedy, and I'm thrilled to meet you all virtually and can't wait to welcome you to the Acadia campus and into the Acadia family, hopefully in a few months. So I'm a proud graduate of Acadia University, graduated back in 2005. And so today I'm going to be wearing 2 hats, my professor hat and then my alumni hat. Tell you a little bit about myself and sort of how things work at Acadia outside of the classroom. So as I said, I graduated from Acadia back in 2005. And over the course of my career, I've worked with a big accounting company called Deloitte. I've advised startups and been involved with quite a bit of volunteer activity. But ultimately, I found my way back to Acadia to teach accounting. And it's been a pretty fun 4+ years doing that. And so if you're taking business, it's pretty likely that I'll be teaching you Intro to Accounting this fall. Exciting stuff. Okay, if I can. So I'm going to tell you, again, a little bit about what happens outside of the classroom. And so with the first slide up there, I'm going to go through this pretty quick. Feel free to fire questions into the chat box. Harker at, just related to that, class sizes get smaller as you get further on into the program because we're getting more specialized in the courses that we're taking. So I'll actually teach some classes where I'll have 2 to 3 students in them. We'll get super specialized on a topic in accounting like blockchain. Yeah, so this is the business banquet. This is one of our big events every year. We, as part of homecoming, and we invite close to 300 students and alumni back to campus to get together for a beautiful meal, hear from an inspiring speaker, and to celebrate our students. We give out awards at that dinner. Great chance to meet members of your alumni family, and a great opportunity to volunteer. It's all student run, and the chair of that banquet this year, Hope Martin, is actually going to be chatting a little bit about her experience, and she's on the webinar with us today. So if I can get the next slide there. Another thing that I've been super lucky to be involved in through my time at Acadia is case competitions. I act as the coach for a number of the case teams that take part in competitions around the region and across the country. And as you can see from the novelty checks and some of the trophies there, we have a pretty good track record. It's a great opportunity to put your business skills to work, get to know members of your team really well, and to meet folks from various industries and schools from across the country to build your network. And a ton of fun to travel to those competitions. If I can get the next one. So another student organized conference we have every year is called Disrupt, where we have workshops, speakers, and mixing and mingling with industry leaders from a variety of different sectors. They come and share stories, and it's a really intimate and interactive format where you're able to get into small groups, get one-on-one with business leaders and alumni to ask them questions about their career and to seek their advice in a really close environment. Okay. And next up, we also have a Women in Finance conference, which has been a huge success over the last 3 years. Again, organized by students. We bring in finance professionals from across the region, some fantastic female guest speakers sharing their career journey, emphasizing ways for women to get ahead in the finance profession. This has created awesome relationships that have resulted in a number of jobs for our students. Next up. I won't go through all the volunteer opportunities you have on campus, but there are quite a bit, quite a number of them. We have on campus what's called the Acadia Entrepreneurship Center that offers a range of workshops and volunteer opportunities, including Electives, which many of you, if you're dialing in from Canada, may have experienced in your high schools. We pair students with local businesses and local leaders to start social enterprises. Okay. Next up, we also have a student-led podcast called The Axe Change. You can find that on SoundCloud. Students host alumni or business leaders on campus, gives you the chance to interview them directly, pick their brains on trends in industries, career advice, and anything you like, really. And so I don't know how many of you are hockey players there. Maybe weigh in on the chat function there. But every year we take on the School of Kinesiology in a hockey game, and so we take them on the ice, and we've won about, I think it's about 12 out of the last 14 years. It gets pretty competitive, but it's also a really fun way to raise money for an on-campus charity called Smile, and for us just to have bragging rights over our friends at Kinesiology. Okay, and next up. So the big day, we're looking forward to welcoming you on campus to celebrate graduation day when you've made it through your Acadia journey. And once you've graduated, your journey at Acadia isn't over. You'll be a member of the Acadia alumni family. If I can get the next slide. So we've got over 30,000 alumni around the world, former graduates of Acadia, working in just about every sector you can think of, at every corner of the globe. And it's been my experience as an alumni, again, with my alumni hat on here, in the 15 years since I've graduated from Acadia, accessing members of the alumni family has helped me identify some amazing work and volunteer opportunities. I've got to connect with alumni who have been mentors to me over the course of my career and really provided me with a lot of guidance that's helped to shape my career as a chartered professional accountant and beyond. So while you'll likely only be at Acadia for 4 years or so for formal study, you become part of a family that's there to support you, whether it's through finding work or just supporting you in life as you go beyond Acadia. So my best advice to you would be to get to know your Acadia family and ask them for help and support throughout your career. Okay. And just wanted to share one photo. This kind of captures my Acadia journey. On the left, you'll see a picture of myself and one of my best friends when I was at Acadia, named Rob Jeffrey. And then that's me, the skinny guy in the middle. And then to the right is David Knowles, who was one of our accounting professors. So back in 2004, which feels like a long time ago now for me, we won an accounting case competition. If you fast forward 15 years to 2019, we relived that photo. Over this 15 years since the original win there, Rob continues to be one of my best friends. He's gone on to be a senior finance executive with a major grocery company, the Canadian Broadcast Corporation, and with a company called Deloitte. And Professor Knowles has stayed in touch with both of us and served as a mentor well beyond the time we spent at Acadia. So in my experience, Acadia creates relationships that last a lifetime. So encouraging you to add us on social media. We're pretty active there. Fire your questions through that. Get to know us a little bit through those channels. And now I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit here, and we're going to introduce your student panel. Okay. So next slide, please. All right. Hailing from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, please meet Hope Martin. Aside from being one of the brightest minds in finance at Acadia, she's traveled extensively, including an epic road trip in a Volkswagen van to Costa Rica. She's the incoming chair of the Acadia Business Banquet. And if they made a movie about the Acadia Business School, she would be played by Hannah Montana. Welcome, Hope. All right. Next up from Cairo, Egypt. If they made a movie about the business school, Rami would be played by Rami Youssef, who also plays the role of Rami on the Hulu series Rami. He's becoming an expert in marketing and has done some really neat work terms with JD Irving and Dash Hudson. Okay. And finally, hailing from Port aux Basques, Newfoundland, she hails from the gateway to the island where the ferry from Sydney docks. She's an accounting major with her eyes set on a CPA and a dedicated volunteer through Acadia's Best Buddies program for over the past 2 years. Every week she swims with her buddy, Shelly. Please welcome Chloe Munden. Okay, so we're going to do a quick lightning round to get to know our students. By all means, weigh in on the chat function or use the raise hand function as questions come up for you. So I'm going to get Hope to start us off with the questions that you see on your screen, and we'll kick it over to Rami and Chloe.
Awesome. Do you want me to go through all four or just the first one first?
We'll go through all four. Lightning speed.
Awesome. So in first year, I was in Cutton. Cutton is actually the biggest residence on the Acadia campus. It was amazing. It was such a great time. I'm definitely a Titan forever. And I met a lot of my best friends. I'm actually living with, even in fourth year, with the girls that lived on the same floor as me in Cutton. My favorite place to hang out on campus. It might sound kind of nerdy, but I really like the library. The library is kind of just a safe space where you can go and you can study and you can go heads down and do your work if you want to. But it's also very much a social place. You kind of see all your friends and you get to interact with everybody. The best part of my Acadia experience. Seems like we have some feedback. So that's hard because the entire Acadia experience has just been incredible. Like every single aspect has been amazing so far. But right now, living in Wolfville in the summertime and really getting to experience the beauty, I think I'm really appreciating the town itself much more. And it's just been incredible, even having outreach and getting to volunteer with the Wolfville Farmers Market. And I got to work as a lifeguard at the pool and get to know a lot of the community members. And it's been really great. And I'm definitely going to miss the town when I graduate. And then my best advice for an incoming Acadia student would definitely be to take advantage of the small school. By going to a small university, like a smaller business program, the opportunities and how much you can actually get to know your professors and get that one-on-one time and actually become involved in different societies or volunteer for events happening. You really can dip your toes in whatever it is you want to try. So definitely take advantage of that. Take advantage of the small school and get to know your professors, get to know your classmates, because it's an amazing experience. Yeah, and then I think that's done.
Hey guys, this is Rami over here. Love the intro, Mike. Thank you so much for that. I'll start like shooting the questions right one by one. So, which residence was I in? So actually, in my first 2 years, I didn't get the chance to live on res, but last year I lived on Chase because I was part of the co-op program. So I was out of campus in the fall. So sorry, in the winter. That's why in the fall I lived in Chase, and I think the good thing is that all of our residences, like they have like different vibes. Like if you want to party, there's like Dennis, there's Chipman. If you want to like a quiet residence, there's Rojo, there's Christopher. If you want to both, as Hope said, like there's Cutting. So we have like all different environments and atmospheres, kind of. The favorite place to hang out on campus. Again, as Hope said, I would probably say the library. It is a library, but it has a lot more than that. It's not usually like there's the social aspect of it is a lot more. A lot of students just go there to like hang out, and it's not what a typical library will be like, kind of thing. What has been the best part of my experience in Acadia? Honestly, the relationships that you would make here. Like for me as an international student, like what I made from my time at Acadia is a lot more than I expected it would be. So definitely the relationships that you're gonna make, again, as Hope said, it's a very tight community. Like the experience that you'll get at Acadia, it's very, very personalized. It's not like any other university that people might not know your name and you're like just a number kind of thing there. Over here, you will know everyone pretty much in the school. People will know you by name. They will know everything about you. So it's a very personalized experience. And I feel that that's something, especially for me as an international student, that's something I'm very grateful for. And again, adding more to that point, and what's my best advice from an international student perspective, I would say just to have an open mind and go in with like a open mindset to embrace anything that will come your way. And I know it sounds cliche, but honestly, just to get yourself out of your comfort zone, like the potential of the experience that you can get at Acadia is so much more. And if you chose to come like a small school, as Hope mentioned, then you might as well make the most out of it and get yourself out there. So definitely that would be my advice. I'll pass it on to Chloe.
Hi guys, I'm Chloe. I'm really excited to be here today. Starting off with the first question, I was in Cutting House like Hope. It does have a lot of frosh. I met like my best friends there. I was on the house council as well. We had coffee houses. We have a lot of Halloween parties, semi-formals. We had 2 denim. There's lots going on, but you can also get like quiet rooms and figure out where you want to go with that. And yeah, like Rami said, you can choose your own residence depending on what type of environment you want to be in. So the residents are really good for that. My favorite place to hang out on campus, I'm gonna have to say Patterson. The building is just so nice. Probably one of the nicest ones on campus. If you're sitting there, you can get coffee. Profs will come and talk to you. There's lots of great meeting rooms that you can meet with your groups or practice your presentations. Or also the lawn. The lawn with all the trees and the big Acadia sign is just really nice. Just go and chill if you just want to relax and enjoy the sun. The best part, I would have to say, is all the extracurricular events that the Business Society and just Acadia puts off itself. I went to the business banquet, Disrupt, accounting leadership sessions, FC Manning speakers series. So there's a lot of that. I was told, like, when I first got there, a lot of the learning is outside of the classroom, and I would definitely go by that. There, you can do a lot of networking. You get to know your profs a lot well, and you stand out, really. When you're the students that go to those things, you really stand out to your profs, and it'll take you places for real. But then they also have stuff like the Dodge Cup and cheating and hockey games and football games, and those are great too. It's really fun. It's really like the university experience that you're looking for. So yeah, that's definitely my best part. And the advice, I would say, take advantage of all the extracurricular activities that I just mentioned. I'm involved with Best Buddies. That was a really nice thing I do. And Smile is another thing that's pretty similar. And there's all kinds. Like it just keeps going on and on. But yeah, doing the Disrupt and the business banquet, just networking and building relationships, I would definitely say to take advantage of that and just try to get as most as you can out of those experiences. So yeah, that's all I have to say there. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our panelists. It was wonderful to have all three of you, and you're all in different areas of business, which is extremely helpful. For the students on the line, if you do want to see this presentation later on, or it's also meant for students who aren't able to join us, it will be uploaded to the acadiau.ca website within 48 hours. If you have any questions about enrollment or admissions, you can email acadiaforyou@acadiau.ca. You can email anytime and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And if you have specific questions about business, you can actually email Hope Corkum, who's the administrative assistant for the business school. Okay, so now we're reaching the Q&A section. So I know there's been several questions within the chat. So if you do have a question and you would like to say it audibly, please type in RH or click on raise hand. And if you do just want us to address the questions from the chat box, we can do that as well.
And if I may, just for a moment, Clara, I've got my mic on here and I forgot to put my video on, sorry. And you can see what happened to me in the intervening years of being a director. Actually, the beard just came with COVID, but a little different picture that you saw me earlier. Listen, the questioning and discussion around job prospects is a really important one. It's very, but yet very difficult to answer definitively by any means in a quick chat like this. But we certainly are very, very hakarat. I can't emphasize enough how varied the opportunities are. There's some disciplines in business that it's a very linear path, if you wish. It's very, the career opportunities are for professional accountant, to become a professional accountant, for instance. It's a very, very kind of active process between where accounting firms are recruiting while you're in school. Others are more sort of entrepreneurial in terms of how that first job opportunities unfold. We work hard and we perpetually have to improve upon helping you in that journey, and particularly in your third and fourth years, to make sure those opportunities, you're aware of those opportunities, so that you know the right path to get those first jobs and are supported in that. But it is, they're varied, and then on that issue, I'm not certain, but if it seems like you may be an international student based on the names, the nature of your questions there are programs that Canada needs and wants young professionals. and young. And so there are programs in place both at the provincial level and the federal level to support students who study in Canada from abroad that want to stay in Canada. And I can't get into all the details in this forum, but we can certainly help point you in the direction of how you learn more about those. Okay, so I'm going to I just wanted to say that as one thing, and I'm going to go back to, I'm going to shut off my camera.
Thanks, Paul. Rami, do you have a question you'd like to ask?
I just wanted to weigh in on the on my own experiences, just from an international student. We're getting a Canadian work experience is obviously crucial after graduating, especially for an international student. If you want to stay in Canada, so it's very important. And I feel that in my second year, so I joined the co-op program, and the co-op program pretty much helps you get like Canadian job experience before even graduating. So I'm going into my fourth year, and I have worked for 3 organizations so far. I worked for startups, I worked for oil companies, all over the tech companies all over the place, and I'm pretty sure Hope and Chloe can add on to that too. I know that they have had work experience, and again, as Liam mentioned in the chat, this is like crucial for also the Atlantic pilot program, especially for an international student. And if you want to stay in Canada, this will help you a lot after graduation if you would like to stay. So yeah, I just wanted to weigh in on that on my own experiences.
Thank you. That's actually very valuable. I think we do have a number of international students on the line today. The next question is it easy or difficult to get jobs in Canada after completing your BBA? I don't know if Paul or Mike, you want to touch on that?
Mike, if you could weigh in. Yeah, I gave my sort of general overview there, and it's you know, I can point to certain disciplines where it's easier, but I don't want to sort of bias anyone's, bias in any way that to suggest there aren't good job opportunities across the board. But we live in a economy that has ups and downs, both domestically in Canada and around the world, of course. And so where the opportunities are, what they look like can perpetually changing. But we certainly feel that our students are as well prepared as any in coming out of North American business schools, if not better than many. And we do have an alumni track record within our alumni, and it's another that proves that they're out there doing wonderful things. And I should have also noted earlier, they're very much there to support you. And our alumni network is a very powerful, valuable element of our community that can certainly help in that scared, as you mentioned, you're a bit scared about that prospect, that transition. It can be scary and time to make that transition, but there are opportunities, and there's supports in place too to help you through that.
Thank you. I know we had a question earlier from Aban. He was wondering what the catch-up method is if he's not able to take grade 12 math right now.
He doesn't need to call Hope for that. I'll tell him right.
Yeah, tell him,
yeah,
that'd be great.
There's a number of ways you could do that by correspondence between now and the fall. The alternative is what we call Math 0110. It's basically you do the equivalent of grade 12 math. You do not get credit for it at Acadia. It's basically saying, okay, you catch up by doing Math 0110, whatever the number is, in your fall semester, and then you're on track. You just catch up that way. So that's one option. The other is to find a means to complete it by some sort of correspondence course between now and the time you arrive in the fall.
That's great. And Aban, and you did say that you are hoping to transfer from psychology into business. So if you could email the Acadia for You account at acadiau.ca, we will definitely help you out with that.
Hope's got her hand up.
Hope,
No.
go ahead.
No. Oh, here, I may as well leave that on. I just saw Harker on his question about studying tips or method to do better in the business program. And I thought I could speak on this just because I've really found at Acadia the main studying tip and thing that really helped me, and that is pretty unique to Acadia, is just relying heavily on sort of your classmates. With the Acadia core year, you're really with the same group of people for a lot of the time, and you form some really strong connections. I know that's how I met Rami. We're in a bunch of different groups together, and I still study with them all the time. So really relying on the relationships you make through your classes and through your program is an incredible tool to use when going through the business program at Acadia.
Perfect. Thanks, Hope. I think the next question is, at what point of our degree do we do our co-op work terms? So this is very flexible, but I'm gonna have somebody else answer this if they would like to jump in. Mike or Paul would be great.
Well, how about Chloe? It might be, maybe Chloe's got her hands up for that reason.
Even better. Perfect.
Hi. I was going to raise my hand for the other question, but I can answer this one too. If I'm familiar with it, I'm pretty sure you can join in second year, but you can also wait to, you can join in second or third year, but I'm pretty sure you can do your co-op in the summer of second year. So if I was in co-op, I'd be doing my first co-op right now. And then you go back to school for a semester, I think, and then correct me if I'm wrong, and then you have another off semester, and then you can work 2 co-ops back to back for the winter semester and then the summer semester. And then I think you come back for your full 4th year, I think.
Yeah, that's good overview, Chloe. But yeah, the first placement is in summer of after your second year. When you do your other 2, there is some flexibility there, but typically at least one of the other ones is done between your summer of 3rd and 4th year. So it just leaves 1 semester of an academic semester that you do your 3rd now. That could be in your 3rd year, it could be in the fall of your 4th year. So it does vary a bit. For instance, accounting firms are really hungry for staff in the winter tax season. So that's when a lot of the accountants will do their in-semester placement will be in their 3rd year in the winter. Okay, but yeah, generally two of the 3 co-op placements happen in summer months and 1 during an academic semester.
If I could just speak on the other question about the tips or methods, I would say because I had just finished second year, and it's a lot of group works. You are with the same people the whole year, but you have to treat each class a little bit differently depending on your profs and who you have, and you just kind of, like, the first 2 weeks you just kind of feel it out and see what will work best. But the textbook doesn't lie. I find the textbook is, like, always get the textbook, in my opinion. There's so much in there. If you don't understand, it'll explain it in maybe a different way that the prof has explained it before. And just really good time management, especially in second year. Things come up on you really quick. There's a lot of presentations, a lot of projects rather than just classwork. So you get pretty much the full semester to work on those, but you should start really soon, as soon as you get them, instead of waiting until the time gets closer, because there's always so much work that you don't realize you actually have to do. So yeah, good time management skills and the textbook. That's what I would say. And talk to your profs, because they're really good and they'll do whatever they can to help you with anything that you need. So yeah.
Great. Thank you, Chloe. That's great.
Thanks.
Let's see what other questions we have here. Does Acadia offer scholarships to international students in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th year?
Absolutely. Yes. Scholarships do not differentiate between domestic and international students, although there are some scholarships that are the benefactors might say that it's preferable for a student from a certain region that they came from, or or studying a certain thing. So some of those are based on the benefactor whom they're targeting. But generally, Acadia scholarships generally, there certainly is no differentiation between domestic and international students of who's granted scholarships, having just gone through this process for the incoming scholarships for this year, that's very much I can assure you it's very much the case based on the recent results, and a lot it proportionally as many went out to international students on a prorated basis in terms of how many applicants there were as relative domestic. So absolutely, they're open to both.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I do know that several scholarships are renewable if you need it as well. So that's something important to note. Now, if there are any other questions, please feel free to raise hand or write it in the chat box now.
Claire, I saw one above about the possibility of deferring acceptance to January. And I'm not going to speak to that. I'll let someone from admissions speak to that. I wouldn't encourage it because I can assure you we're going to be ready for you in the fall. But I would defer to admissions for you to explore that as an option. Certainly it is an option, but I think you may want to stay tuned because we're working very busily to be prepared for you in the fall, and we will be prepared for you in the fall. Exactly what its shape that's going to take is it's a fluid thing right now, but within the next couple of weeks it'll become a lot more certain of what the fall will look like. Okay.
Yeah, just to pick up on that, to give you perspective, so I'm getting ready to teach probably about 150 first-year students accounting. I'm working under the expectation that we're going to be on campus in the fall, but also building a backup plan that's going to involve quite a bit of like small group video chat or even one-to-one coaching. It's been pretty neat for the last 2 months. Like in Nova Scotia, we've been under lockdown. I think I've had some of the neatest, some of the best conversations I've had with students on video chat or Zoom. I've chatted actually with all of with Rami and Chloe already this week. Earlier in the week, I was chatting with a student in Perth, Australia. We're going to really deliberately build in and keep up with one of the things we're famous for in terms of just building close relationships with students. So maybe a bit more video content, but that personalized touch is still going to be there. It's just going to look a little bit different potentially in the fall term.
That's great. Thank you. The most recent question was wondering what date international students should arrive for fall 2020. We aren't sure just yet. Like Mike just said, we are planning for, a normal fall, but we are coming up with different plans as well. Once we know more, we will let you know.
And I'm just going to weigh in on continuing the conversation Mike's started there. It is a really interesting experience to be living through this reality. And we had what I call the pivot to wrap up the term last term, which was, I wouldn't say seamlessly executed, but the agility of Acadia shone, came through, and we were able to deliver roughly 20% of an academic semester in without very many hiccups, and so that's very different though than getting ready for the possibility of having to augment our programming virtually, and that's the way I would describe it right now. There may be things that we simply have to augment virtually, but we are planning, and there's lots of interesting, as Mike suggested, lots of interesting opportunities to that technology enables. So I really look at it as an opportunity for us to, kind of force ourselves to revisit some of our standard ways to deliver our academic programs, not to move further from what we know is the best way, which is face-to-face, but to augment that. And so we're going to be forced to do it more than we would hope and faster than we had hoped, but we're working at that. We've got time, we'll do it, but we're sure going to learn some things that are going to stay with us, and there'll be investments made into people's time, and people will develop competencies in using these technologies that will be very valuable going into the future as well. So office hours don't have to come through, get out of your, for instance, office hours virtually, more of that, so that, on a cold, blistery January day, don't let anyone let that scare you away. But, just checking in from your residence room on a Zoom call instead of having to trek down the hill to an office. So there'll be things like that we know will be good lessons learned.
Wonderful, thank you. I think we have hit all of the questions, and we are just running out of the hour here. So I'd just like to take an opportunity to say thank you so much to Paul and Mike, as well as our student speakers, Chloe, Rami, and Hope. It was wonderful to hear from all of you. And I will just leave a couple emails in the chat box. So if any students do have further questions, please feel free to email us. Thank you so much.
And thanks to all of you guys for all you people who, students that took time to check in with us today. It was great meeting you this way virtually.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.